what's on your heart.
I'd be happy to, Neil. Thanks. And good to see you guys again. Yeah, this book really, I mean, Neil and I were some of the first two, I think that Brian had brought this before, and it was really a shock to me because not only did I have a chance to sort of hear Brian talking about the book before I got it, but I also like got in some pretty good conversations with him about his perspectives, and I realized that when I got the book, that really what the book is it's proposing a paradigm shift in your entire perspective. In other words, it's not like so before I kind of connected this up in my brain and my heart, I
Hmm.
always thought like I live in the world and the kingdom of heaven is like somewhere else, right? That it's like that I'm actually resident in the world and that I'm kind of trying to access. I'm always trying to get in the kingdom of heaven. I remember Brian Elliott, the author, when he said to me once, he said, one of the greatest lies in the church is that saying that people say so flippant that you're so deep in your faith that you're no earthly good to anyone else. And the truth is that like he says, I reside within the kingdom of heaven. Like I am a resident and a citizen of the kingdom. And I bring it with me wherever I go. And so all of a sudden, if you can imagine, like all of a sudden you're looking at everything through a different lens. And one of the things that we were talking about that Neil's referring to about the blessing and the battle is that I all of a sudden, when I look at my life from that perspective of being resident within the kingdom,
Hmm.
I see my life sort of this kind of like this beautiful mosaic of really kind of great things going on,
Hmm.
and but I also can see clearly all of the challenges and the ugliness and whatever, but the like the challenges, the battles, as Neil called it there, like is what I referred to it as the battles. They don't seem to intimidate me anymore, and it's not because it's not because the battle's any different than it was before. It's that I'm looking at it from a different perspective as
Hmm.
from within the kingdom. And if you read through this book, and I said this right at the beginning, is each chapter kind of fine tunes your perspective on what it is you're seeing in front of you. So I'm seeing beautiful blessing in my life, and of course I said my wife because I actually that's one of the best parts of my life
That's
is my
right.
wife. Yet I'm seeing like battles and things to do with finances and relationships with other people and all these things. But I have zero of the it's almost like I'm insulated from the attacks of the enemy. Like I don't get the spirit of fear doesn't attack me like it
Right.
used to. It just doesn't because I'm insulated within the kingdom from a
Mhm.
kingdom perspective from those attacks. So it's I just am really amazed that an engineer, because Brian Elliott, the author of this book, is an engineer, wrote this book, but it's
Yeah.
because it's so from the heart, but
Yeah.
it's so organized and really well done. So that's an observation that I had. The battle and the blessing is
Hmm.
just a completely different. It looks completely different to me. The blessings are richer, and the battles are just like so much easier. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we understand that we're from the kingdom and that we're living in the kingdom, that the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords is with us no matter where we go. And the early church had a revelation of that they were part of this kingdom. And literally they defeated the Roman Empire without any swords. They
yeah.
defeated the Roman Empire by going from city to city, house to house, village to village, bringing the gospel of the kingdom that brought transformation into people's lives. And so that's what's exciting about studying this book and talking about what it means to be in the kingdom. So good stuff. Darius, why don't you share what God's putting on your heart about life in the kingdom?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Um, yeah, it was a good book. As I was talking or discussing with you guys the other day, I was first introduced to the kingdom back in 2006. It was a very monumental moment in my life. At the time, I was 38 years old. I was having a midlife crisis, and I didn't even know why. Everything was going fine in my life. But it seemed like life was just kept going in the same circle. Every
Mm,
day was like the next day. It's like, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I here? And went to a conference. Miles Monroe was there teaching, and he taught about the kingdom, introduced it, gave me concepts that I had never heard before.
mm,
But what I can tell you is that he totally like read my mail. He saw the frustration of not just me, but everybody in the room, that we have been taught a lot of religion,
mm,
but not the kingdom.
mm,
And when I found it, it was like, it talks about in the Bible, it's like there's buried treasure in a
mm.
piece of property, and you
Yeah,
sell everything and go buy it.
yeah.
Well, that's what happened to me.
Mm,
I was like buying all kinds of books. I was redistributing CDs. I was sending out the kingdom message to anybody and everybody I could think of.
mm,
That's how pumped and excited I was. Like,
mm.
I was introduced to what God always had in mind.
Yeah.
Reading this book just totally reinforces all of that. And the kingdom is so different. It's like, we talk a lot about being born again and then
Mm.
going to heaven. But then why are we here beyond that? Just
Right.
to exist until we finally get there and God takes us away one day? But when I learned the kingdom and coming, it's so different. To enter into the kingdom of heaven is not like a physical thing, but it's coming into alignment with the way the
Mhm.
kingdom operates.
Right. Right.
And it's not forced upon you, you choose it.
Right.
And in order to enter it, it's so different. You can keep your life. God will
Mm,
totally let you do that. He'll let you walk and experience the fruit that you're bearing, whether good or bad.
mhm.
But we have a choice whether if we can let go of our life. It's just like you let go of your life and then you find it.
Yeah.
Like, to find your life, you lose it. It's so real. And I've just found like that's been the story of my life as more time has gone by. This book
Mhm.
kind of summarizes it and puts it all together, that as I have let go and God has shown me where the patterns of my thinking were wrong and then brought them into alignment with his, the stuff that I've been able to overcome and prosper has just been amazing. But I
Mm,
can tell you one thing, it wasn't born again was a start, but
mhm.
I lived my entire life as a Christian up until I was 38 years old. It was the kingdom that made me come alive.
Amen. Come on, that's good. And I think that that's a revelation that a lot of people are getting, and that's what I like about what we're doing with this book. And I believe that as men get a hold of this vision, that about life in the kingdom, as churches get a hold of this, as we get a hold of this, that we can literally turn the world upside down like the first century Christians did. They were kingdom Christians. So that's good. That's good. Keith and Des, you guys have been studying this book a little bit. Keith, what part are you guys in, and what have you guys been talking about? What have you been learning?
Well, we're in chapter 3 right now, currently working through seeking his kingdom.
Hmm.
And I'm just looking at the book here online. Um, what what struck me the last few weeks that we've been covering it with some of the guys in the group is that a lot of the scriptures that Brian has used in these early chapters um, are very well known. They're not revelatory new things. It's not, digging up, real proverbial biblical insights. He's taken scriptures that we all know
Yeah.
and that we've heard so many times, but showing us a way that we can take our faith, see what part that we have in the kingdom, our inheritance
Mhm.
as adopted members of the kingdom,
Right.
and then some of the practical steps that we can take to fulfill our part and our purpose in that. So I'm fascinated to see what holds in the future, what's coming next,
Yeah.
because we're getting a lot out of it. Like the readings, the notes, very very easily to translate that into conversation pieces to
Hmm.
generate discussion, and guys are really keying in on some of these talking points. So it's very teachable, very easy bring to draw guys into conversation. So that's been great. And there's even some in the groups that don't that aren't reading the book. One guy in our group is self-professed non-reader. He says, I don't read anything. He doesn't read at all, like period. Like he'll read his email, he'll read his text, but he doesn't.
Tell him to get the audio book.
Yeah, no, that's not his thing. But he's devout and he's loves being a part of the group. So we can just discuss the points in the scriptures and how it applies. And he doesn't need to read the book to get out of the conversation how to apply it to his life.
That's right.
So it's very usable as a teaching tool. And I think maybe Des can speak to how much people have been getting out of it.
Sure. So Des, what have you been getting out of it?
Well, just going back to the beginning and just getting an understanding of the author's life, Brian's life, and how he has been through so much tragedies in his life, and how he has used that as a springboard to come up, to actually go through all those tribulations and come to a place where he could actually write a book like this. It's just amazing. One of the things that stood out to me is the fact that he says, you have to lose your life, like the gentleman just said, to find it. And you have to get off your kingdom and let the Lord dictate your life, and how that has transformed his life in every facet. It's just astounding that, like you said, more men should hear, and more men is gonna be encouraged by the words of the book. It's truly transformational.
It's good.
We're just I'm at chapter 4 now, but I just can't wait to get deeper into it.
That's good. It's good. One of the things, Des, you might appreciate about this is that when I first met Brian, after his daughter had been murdered, one of the things that I did was I took him through the Blessing Generation seminar, and to deal with a lot of the hurt and the wounds in his life. And he's really embraced that. And so that's one of the reasons why, we've been walking with Brian for all of these years, and because it's a similar spirit, is that as men, we need to be healed up, as well, so that we can fulfill the destiny that God has given us as kingdom men. And so that's why, we really encourage guys to go to a Blessing Generation seminar or one of the Ancient Past seminars to get that healing. So that's awesome. It's awesome. PEI, what's happening out there with the small group, Simon?
Yeah, we had it this evening. We have seven or eight of us this evening, and see, we're not having like the closed small groups. We have invite the men. There's anywhere from 10 to 20 men sometimes. Most times it's around 8 or 10. And we're just getting more and more intimate. Tonight, we've been getting to know each other, we've been getting trusted, but tonight was really powerful. Mainly for one individual who's kind of in and out of the church. I've been inviting him, and tonight he really opened up to the group, and we really ministered to him, and that was our focus night, leading him through some deliverance, ministering to him, and we all said at the end of the night, he even looked different at the end of the night than at the beginning. It was amazing. The Holy Spirit was so at work in our group tonight. Yeah, so we're getting deeper and deeper, more intimate with each other, and and more transparent with each other. And it's great to see guys like that, because like when I started this group off, I said Sunday morning I see Alan, and I said, "How are you, Alan?" And Alan says, "Good." And he asked me how I'm doing. I say, "Good." And I said, "We're not good. We need to tell each other we're not good." And that's, we're getting to that point now where we so intimate with each other that we can tell our darkest secret, that what we've done this week, what's been troubling us, and we all pray as equals, and lift each other up and build each other, disciple each other together.
Mhm.
Ah.
Yeah.
And even in our church, since we've been doing this, I think it's because I haven't got a chance to talk to Noel, because Noel wasn't at it this evening. The men coming together, and the men are all stepping out in
Right.
their faith. And they all said this evening the structure of the church is coming down.
Mm.
That instead of sitting back and waiting for the leaders, waiting for the pastor to do something, they're stepping out and doing it themselves.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see.
I think that's key, Simon, is that we need to be in, that kingdom relationship with other men. I don't believe you can actually be a disciple unless you're in a group where you can be accountable and you can share, you can pray, you can cry, you can, it's more than a Bible study, but it's actually doing life together. So that's awesome to hear. It's good.